Hi, Bob. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Gilbert. Thank you.
Great to have you with us here today to talk about your new company, Pinnacle Silver and Gold. Maybe you can just start off introducing a bit of a background. I know that you recently acquired a new project in Mexico, so tell me all about it.
Mhm. Well, for those of I guess the shareholders that might have been around for a little while, they'll probably know that we changed the name last year to Pinnacle Silver and Gold. It was previously New Range Gold, and some of your investors came in at that time. We changed the name last year to focus more on Mexico, and the project that we've acquired is a gold and silver project in northwestern Durango and in the Sierra Madre trend, which is a very, very prolific gold and silver trend. And we just picked it up in February, actually. So we've really only been on the project for 3 months. And we just put out some great results just a few days ago from the first work that we've been doing. So we're very excited about it. It is a past producing project. But I mean, that production goes back 35 years. It closed down in 1990. And our plan is to get it back into production as quickly as we can because the infrastructure for the old plant is still there. And we can just, we can refurbish the plant. And similarly, there are three old mines on the property that we can rehabilitate as well. So we think we can fast track this to production. And then basically the business model is to do that and grow the company out of cash flow as much as possible rather than relying on the equity markets all the time and diluting shareholders. So it's the business model that we used when I started Great Panther, and worked very well for us at that time, and I think we can do it again.
Yeah, you mentioned about Great Panthers. So you're back to Mexico where you had success in Great Panthers before. Can tell us a bit more about the jurisdiction or the environment there, permitting issues. So if working in Mexico.
Yeah, well, I mean, for one thing, we're right back where we started with Great Panther, because the first mine that we acquired in 2004 was the Topia mine, and in northwestern Durango, and we're right back in the Topia district, only 13 kilometers from the Topia mine, and so it is a mining district. Durango is a mining friendly state, and so the people in that area understand mining. They're supportive of mining. And we actually have, in addition to Topia, there are three other mines within a 35-kilometer radius. So it really is a good solid mining district, and the communities there understand that. So Topia itself is a relatively small town. It was about 3,000 people when I first went there in 2003. Now it's about 9,000, and that's largely because of the mine that exists there. And so it's a great spot for services, supplies, mining contractors, skilled labor, that sort of thing. So from that standpoint, it's a terrific spot to be. From a permitting standpoint, Mexico is getting better, politically as far as granting permits and supporting mining. One thing about this specific project is that well, several things really. I mean, it's underground, so it has a relatively small footprint. We're not talking about a large open pit or anything. It's a relatively small operation, or it was, and so again, from the footprint standpoint, it's not large. It sits on private property, so we don't have any community issues as far as the actual operations go. But we have a good relationship with the local communities anyways. And with all of that, we think that permitting should be, let's say, relatively easier and faster than it might be for let's say a large open pit type operation. So and the fact that the plant is there, it's what you might call a disturbed site. So we're not going into sort of virgin territory where you'd need to do a massive environmental studies and all that kind of stuff. So there's road access, and so that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, so now you acquired the project. I presume you were doing some exploration work before putting that, trying to find more gold and silver, to put that into production. So what kind of exploration plan that you have in mind to for next?
Well, this project has been privately owned for about 40 years, and there's really been very little what we might call modern day exploration done on the property. And so our guys, pretty much from the first week that we acquired the project, they've been in there mapping and sampling on surface. There are three existing old mines there that are easily accessible. There's no shafts or anything; these are just tunnels straight into the side of the hill. And so the guys have been sampling underground, and we've completely cleaned all three mines, made them safe to work in, and we've just finished sampling the middle one called Pinos Cuartos. And those are the results that we just put out, and we're getting some very very nice mineralization in there. We're doing systematic channel sampling across the roof of the tunnels, and getting individual samples up to 37 grams gold and 375 silver. On surface, we're getting up to 2,280 grams silver, 13 grams gold. So we're getting some very high grades in places, which is nice to see. And so we'll continue with that program of the mapping and sampling with the other mines as well. And at the same time, I'll be going in a couple of weeks with a fellow to assess the plant that's there and get him to determine what it's going to cost and time and so on to actually get the plant back up and running again. And we're also taking in a fellow who is an expert on the permitting side of things, and he's going to assess the site and try to determine what we might have to do from a permitting standpoint, and so that we can get going with any baseline studies that need to be done and that sort of thing. So we'll get going with all of that, and then we hope to be drilling perhaps by the fall. We need to finish all this sampling program first in order to better understand the geology, the controls on the mineralization, and really help to define the drill targets so that when we do start drilling, we know exactly what we're looking for and how to go about it.
So in all, do you have a sort of estimate or an idea how much capital you would need for this further development work, exploration work until the production? So how much capital approximately you think you will need to?
Well, at the moment, it's until we get this fellow in and can do a more detailed assessment, it's still fairly sort of high level, I guess. But judging by the size of the plant and the sort of condition that we think it's in, the type of equipment that we might need to replace, we'd have to replace the electrical work and so on. We're sort of estimating somewhere in the 2 to 3 million US range. And we'll need to do a bit of rehabilitation underground as well, and get those sites ready. So, but we'll have a better sense of that in the coming weeks and a month or two as we properly assess that. But probably somewhere in that range.
Sure. So how about timeline? Like assuming everything falls into place, you do all the work that you need, and you everything's all in trending at the right moment in terms of the developments. How soon? Because you talk about sort of putting this in sort of near term production. You don't have to wait for too long. So what's the soonest time frame that you think that you can if everything falls into place that you can put this into production?
Yeah, the biggest unknown factor, I guess, is really going to be the permitting side of it. And, I mean, from what we need to do, as far as rehabilitating the mines and refurbishing the plant and so on, I think we can do all of that within probably about a 2 year time frame. But and during that time, we will be applying for the permits that we need. So then it really comes down to the various government authorities and how quickly they can turn those permits around. So if things go well, then I could see us being back in production within a 2 to 3 year time frame. But as I say, that's the biggest wild card is really the permitting side of things.
For sure, well, as investors, we understand there's a risk involved in the early the exploration and development stage of work too. But of course, we
Mhm.
all want to take it, as a company point of view, you want to take advantage of the strong gold price and silver price these days too.
Right, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe I can just, in summary, because I look at your share price. I think it's starting to become more active recently since you're starting to
Mhm.
work on it. I guess this is, could you call it a more like a ground floor level now when investors are looking at your company and potential can be quite multiples when you if you be able to advance this project in the next few months or a 12 to 18 months time frame.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how I would describe it at this point as a ground floor opportunity because we are only 3 months into this project and with the business model that we have, it's the same as we had with Great Panther, so we have experience doing that. We know what we're doing. We're in a familiar area, and the other thing for people to keep in mind too is that despite the current small size of the project and the old plant and so on, that's just a first step. It's just it's a stepping stone to get this into production quickly. I mean, you couldn't do something like that with, let's say, 1,000 ton per day plants. There's no way that you could be in production in 2 years. So this allows us to get going and then start to generate a bit of cash flow that we can then use to continue to build the company and build out the project. And at the same time, we're going to be looking for other acquisition opportunities as well. Again, going back to the Great Panther days, I mean, we acquired the Topia mine in 2004, and even before we had that back in production, which was 2006, we acquired the Guanajuato mine in 2005. It's just a year later. Because we're there, we're active, we're looking for other opportunities, and when you leave yourself open like that and you're actively looking for something, then it's amazing what you can find. So I'm already in discussions on what the next acquisition might be. There are definitely lots of opportunities still in Mexico, and we'd really like to continue to build out the company doing that. So I think it's very much a ground floor opportunity as we build the company.
Great to hear, Bob. And thank you for joining us here today for the update. I really hope to be able to speak to you soon about the next update on your upcoming activities.
Great. Thanks very much, Gilbert. Pleasure.
Thank you, Bob. Talk to you soon.